Welcome, welcome. This is Gull Khan, your money mindset expert. And once again, we have the beautiful, the amazing, the magical Susan Kennard. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Gull. Lovely to be back. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming back. We had such an amazing conversation with you on Friday feature. We had to have you back on Money Talkies. But before we begin, once again, Susan, tell everybody in your own words what it is that you do.
Sure. So I'm a spiritual scientist. That's how I'm known. And the reason for that is because my background's very traditional in science, and I incorporate that with my channel to source and my ability to see into the body. And I'm a psychic.
Wonderful. So fellow psychic, I'm also a psychic, which is amazing. That's why we're able to have such a wonderful connection. So Susan, today we're talking about how your life mission equals success. We were talking about success off camera. Now, why do you believe that? Let's explain the title of the topic. Why do you believe your mission is equal to success?
What I believe in a shortened sentence is literally that when you truly align to what you are meant to do in this world, the universe lines up with you and creates every pathway, every person, every opportunity, everything for you once you're aligned. You have to keep aligning, as you know, you and I both know, but you have to keep tweaking and keep aligning. And once you're aligned to that, then you truly are in your success.
Wonderful. And when you say mission, what's your definition of life mission?
It doesn't have to be what we do. So mission to me is really what lights you up. So when you feel that excitement, that lit up feeling within you, you truly know that you're living something that is your joy. You know, you and I were both parents, we have children, and that's what I talk to my children about. If that lights you up, then do it, you know, because obviously that's your soul talking to you. You know, the body's the barometer of the soul, and your body is hearing that as well. And so you are literally hearing what your soul is trying to tell you. And it might not be what we do. It might not be being a psychic or a channel or a teacher or anything. It might be something completely different. But if it lights you up and you feel that sense of, the guides are saying, oneness, okay, oneness with the world, oneness with the universe, then you're pretty sure that you're on the right track.
I agree. Now, most of the people who listen to this podcast are really in the entrepreneurial niche. There are people who have transitioned from the corporate world or are those who are thinking about it. And especially for those who are thinking about it, they may say, well, it's all well and good for you, Gull, and you for Susan, because you've got to you're financially stable and you've done well. Yeah. How does someone who's thinking about it, who really feels, I mean, you and I both were taking completely different roles. You've come from a science background and you're working intuitively as a psychic and other things. My background is I'm a lawyer, and that too is a banking finance lawyer, and I'm working as an intuitive healer, so completely different areas. Yet we had a calling, and we were discussing before, the awakening of our, becoming aware of our life mission. How does someone take that leap of faith when they know they've had the spiritual awakening, they've understood that that's not the life path, be whatever it is, maybe, music, maybe singing, maybe, I don't know, carpentry, maybe something else creative with their hands, maybe, becoming a painter or whatever, or writer for that matter. They know, so there's somebody listening who knows in the heart of the hearts that they're in the wrong profession. They are not meant to be doing this. They're meant to serve the humanity through a different form, through a different creative. How do they take that leap of faith? What should they do?
Sure. I mean, I work with people with that all the time. And, I have someone I'm working with at the moment, and she started off by staying in her profession, staying in her job, and she retrained and decided to work, as a coach, and she retrained, and she started to see clients in her time, like her weekends, or she started to create a business on the side. Some people call it a sidekick. And I'm never an advocate of quitting jobs, right? There are reasons why people want to do that at the moment. We're recording this in 2021, and I get it, but I'm never an advocate of quitting jobs. And the reason why is because when you feel financially that you cannot put the lights on or pay your bills or your mortgage, then you are not in your creative flow.
Agreed.
So I always believe that our creative flow is us, it's our divine birthright. You know, we're here to serve humanity and however that's meant to be, but it's baby steps. So if you're in a corporate job, or you're, you know, working wherever you're working, and you feel you can't get out of it because financially you wouldn't be able to pay, you know, where you live or the school fees or whatever it is, yeah, dear to heart, that part, then you step into it and find something that lights you up. Maybe you do a meditation course. Maybe you do an art course, as Gull was saying. Maybe you do something that is charity. Maybe you volunteer somewhere. Maybe you find something that allows you to see your job as something that is an amazing vehicle to lead you to the next step. So rather than saying, I hate my job, I hear this all the time, I hate my job, I hate my job, actually shift that around and focus on something else. Maybe, you know, be in nature. I know people say that all the time, but we live by the sea. It's amazing. I take the puppy for a walk by the sea, you know, get that amazing nature feeling, but find something that truly lights you up. And what's actually coming to me as I'm saying this, so my guides are kind of stepped right in, is saying that actually gratitude, being, yeah, it's kind of a nice reminder, you know, being grateful for you sometimes is hard, but grateful for one or two things in your life. So grateful for your children, grateful for the support you get, grateful for this podcast that you've listened to it right at the right moment when you needed to hear this message, you know, grateful for, you know, where you live, you know, whatever it might be. Okay. Grateful for an animal you have. That gratitude vibration allows you to create more of that vibration, and that's unconditional love. So that brings you to a place where you start to get a bit more intuition, you know, and that's just the first baby step if you're in a job that you really know is not your mission.
I think this is very important. So two things come to mind. First of all, I love the idea of being in the energy of gratitude. You have to be in the state of gratitude. If you're in the state, if the energy of, if your vibration is of complaining and, you know, lack and scarcity, you will attract more of it. So that's the first point: being in a state of gratitude for having the job and for you know, for being able to be in a privileged position to be able to afford everything you want to buy at the moment.
Exactly.
But yeah. I do agree with you there that, you know, you have to swap the way of thinking. So you have to change your mindset around about, okay, what's missing, and focus on what you have, and then pivot. Okay, what else do I want to add in? And that's very, very important to have. Now, I also want to add something to this, that I don't practice as a lawyer anymore, and I haven't been working as a lawyer now for a good 15 years, coming up to 14 years now. And I didn't. I left for maternity for my daughter and never went back, just for various reasons. But so I haven't used my legal skills in the legal profession for the last 14 years yet. Every single day there's a skill or talent that I picked up from my either training or my experience that I incorporate into my day-to-day life right now. And even my ability, because I take very complex, I have something that I've learned, take very complex ideas, simplify them for people so that my 10-year-old son can understand. This is what I did with my book. And this is a skill that I learned as a barrister. So we've trained to take really complex legal ideas, simplify them for our lay clients, obviously have a discussion with the solicitors about it, and at the same time speak very professionally to judges and as we need to discuss the matter, plus with the colleagues. So you're able to speak to different people at different level with a different terminology to explain the matters as clearly and succinctly as possible. A skill that I have and I would not have if I had not gone through my legal training. And it's vital for my current role, because otherwise, you know, some of the concepts we talk about are very, very, you know, they're very complex. Someone like you would understand, but explaining those things to somebody who's new to this, it will go over their head and they won't understand and they will switch off. It's vital that we're able to communicate at the level where people are at the moment. A skill that I would have to learn now, but I have that ingrained in me because of my training. So you probably have so many skills that you've picked up by being in the current profession where you are, where you don't want to be, but you can use those skills for your new life purpose. I think this is something that you can definitely be grateful for. You don't even know what the skills you've picked up.
Speaking, for example, speaking skills. I mean, you know, I worked in child protection for 15 years as a trauma specialist, I had to run groups, I had to hold things, I had to do research, all sorts of stuff, which I don't do exactly that now. But I transferred, like you did, transferred all those skills, and I worked on a platform in London as a medium. That was started my speaking career. I didn't know that at the time, but that allowed me to have that feeling that I could stand on a stage and speak, right?
Exactly.
And so if you're listening to this, as Gull's saying, it's like listening to this and saying, well, actually, yeah, I've got all these skills, I've got all these maybe degrees, qualifications, but actually I want to shift completely. That's not a waste. Where you are now is where you are now and where you're meant to be.
Exactly.
And then just to relook at it, and just, yeah, I think that's a really important thing, is just to say, don't pull the rug, just think, what's the next step for me?
Agreed. And I think we were speaking off camera, but we touched upon the fact that you are brought to where you are. You are meant to be where you're meant to be right now. And even your life path. I mean, sometimes even being grateful for that, because you and I both came from abusive relationships. But instead of being bitter and upset about it, we both are very grateful for it, because it shaped us to be who people we are. And I
Exactly.
certainly would not be doing this had I not been through that trauma. And I don't think you either. So even looking back in hindsight, I can even be grateful for that abusive relationship, because it put me on my life mission to do what I'm doing at the moment, to love my clients, to love my work, to have a passion for it, and to be paid handsomely.
And to be empowered,
and to be empowered,
Key thing as well, if you're a man or a woman listening to this, actually that power is within. And if for some reason the job you're in, or the relationship you're in, or whatever it might be, is dampening down your true inner power, imagine how you're going to be when you step out of that closet, the spiritual closet, let's say, and you step into your mission. That is just, an incredible place to be.
Exactly. But I think two things. So first of all, well, hang on a minute. Let me step back and say, what if somebody doesn't understand the mission? What if they say, Susan, this sounds really great, and I love what you say. I don't like my job. I hate my job. I'm bored of it, but I don't know what my life mission is. So how can someone even work out what is their life mission, and what should they be doing?
When I speak to people that are in those professions, and they're in the professions, maybe working with money or trading or whatever it might be, and I say to them, find one thing in that job that you really like. It's always working with people. It's always the communication with their clients, maybe even if they don't meet them. It's always that. It's always the humanity part that people get lit up by. Well, actually, I really love helping them with this, but I don't like that part, and it's like, so it always seems to be that aspect of humanity. And we were talking off air about, actually having that vision for another, but having that vision for society or humanity. And I think that is a really key thing. So there will be something in your job that actually does light you up. It's just because it's got to the point where your soul is talking to you and saying, this is not your path, this is not your path. And you just need to listen to it. And it makes you feel really low in your energy, because it's like a drudgery every day, or you just feel like it's something that you really find really difficult to do every day. And it lowers your energy, and that's why you're feeling that way. But there will be something in that job that you love.
I love that. And okay, so if I have, for example, just using me as an example, I'm in this banking finance sector, and I hate my job. I hate the admin. I hate all the contracts. And it sounds really sexy, but it's not. It's just me and stuck in an office dealing with gazillion contracts and numbers and whatnot. But I enjoy the interaction with my colleagues. I enjoy the presentations. I enjoy the speaking element of it. But I enjoyed those parts. So I can find things I'm grateful for my current job, but I still have no clue what is my life mission. How do I work out what is my life mission?
So it's about what lights you up. So when you think about doing one of those things, say it is doing the presentations or conversing and helping a colleague that might be in your desk next door to you, does that light you up? If that lights you up, then you can be sure that that's part of your mission. But I do need to say that mission changes. It doesn't mean that if you are, we know that, right? So it doesn't mean that if you are lit up by that aspect, that that won't change later on. It just means that that's your stepping stone.
Yes,
That's your
that's the
stepping
important
stone.
thing to remember, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
You and I both know that our missions have changed as we've grown and developed as people. And I know for a fact that, I mean, my first mission has, my first mission was just to make sure that I make my kids go back in their schools. And then as time progressed, it's now, I truly believe I was meant to be an advocate for money. So I call myself an advocate for money. I am a lawyer still, but I'm half money now.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm an advocate for money. But my long-term vision and my long-term mission is to help children. I'm a big believer of empowering children with education and life skills that they can develop and help themselves and build a better society. I really believe children are the future. And without educating children adequately and giving them like nutrition and love, not just education, but love as well, it's essential for us to have a viable society to leave behind. So that's my life mission. And
there are teachers, right? Our teachers, leaders, thought leaders, and boy, we need some good ones of those, right?
Oh, definitely. At the moment,
yeah,
we definitely do.
so there we are.
So that's my life mission, not just for my kids, because I can see my kids growing up very soon. I've done the best I can with them, but I also mean extending to other children. I don't want to have any more kids, but I do want to adopt kids and maybe foster and so forth. So I had this is my life mission. Hence the reason why I want to, I am very ambitious in terms of making money, but the money, there's a reason for it. It's not for me to get the other car. There's nothing wrong with getting the car. This is the key. Yeah. And so
absolutely.
This is so important that you get, once you get through, and there's no harm, by the way, in wanting the car, wanting the house, wanting the traveling. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually good. It's good for you to experience that physically. But then once you've done all of that, and once you've attained that, you will be given a grander, larger vision, a larger mission. Whereas for me, I now, and now, even I still had to have the full picture, but begin snippets of it. So I did think I would ever move out of the country, and I was talking to you off the camera. I've now got the vision of, I'm going to move to other parts, probably warmer, a lot warmer parts of the world, where I can have.
We're in the UK.
So it's where I can actually put a base down and start building this mission of kids and helping kids and whatever else, because my work is, I don't have to be based in one location. I can be anywhere. I'm location free. But this is where slowly over time, your mission will be given to you and all the pieces will come together. This is where faith comes in, but you have to take the initial step. If I'd look back at, 2016, when I made the decision, 2016, I was too messed up, I was too going to divorce. 2017, made the decision not going to law again and doing this professionally. I could not fathom that this would be my vision. I was just focused on making sure there's food on the table. Now it's a complete different mission. When you say this mission and the vision evolves.
Well, it's an evolvement, isn't it? You just said, So it evolves, doesn't it, girl? It's like it evolves into the next aspect. It's not like it's a different mission, but it's an evolvement of your mission. And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, how do I start? Well, you just start by, you've listened to this, and actually it might make sense to you. It might have seeded something within your soul that was already talking to you anyway.
Exactly.
And so, it might be worth doing some inner work, because I find that the inner work is the key to the outer experience. So we, with that vibrational match, walking around the world, in this beautiful vibration, and what our outside world is showing us is a reflection of our inner belief. And that's a good one to pause on, because you can look at what is going on in your outside world. I mean your bank account, I mean your relationships, I mean how you feel about yourself, etc. This is your outside world. It's never outside. It's actually a reflection of your inner world. So that, that internal inside job, we call it, or it's like doing the inside job allows you to create that external. So mostly that comes down to those parts of you that are talking to you, these inner children, these parts of you, these aspects that are outside of you saying, oh, I'm not, I've got a wall up. I can't possibly do that. I'll just stay in this. It's what I need to do to pay the bills.
Mm,
That wall, that emotional wall, it's not really there. It's just from a moment in time where you felt disconnected to your true source within.
mm,
And so we never are disconnected. It's just that moment in time that we felt it. So because we felt we were disconnected, we were on our own in that second, that moment, the wall goes up. And we don't want to live behind that wall anymore.
mm,
That wall just prevents us from being the best version of ourselves. And so when that inner work is done, the emotional wall process is really powerful. But
mm,
when that inner work is done, that wall isn't there anymore. And we're stepping into that new threshold of freedom. And that freedom within allows that sense of just an inner knowing of what is next and living in that present moment. We spoke about off air, I think,
mm.
living in that present moment of trust. And yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that we quickly wave a wand or click our fingers. But what does happen overnight is the decision to make a change. And I
Agreed.
think that is
Mm.
key, really.
It is. And I think that this what you mentioned about this disconnection with source, this disconnection
Mm.
with divine energy, that I think is always an illusion. There is no disconnection. There
Mhm.
can never be any disconnection. We
Absolutely.
are always connected to God, divine energy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Mhm.
whatever name you give to divine energy. For me,
Yeah.
when I'm teaching, I say divine energy, but when I refer to it, I'm a practicing Muslim. For me, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can never
Yeah.
disconnect from source energy because you're always
No.
connected. The spirit is constantly communicating with source energy. So
Yeah.
the disconnection is an illusion given to you by your
Absolutely.
lower ego self, that I'm alone
Mhm.
here by myself. You're never alone. You always have your guides and angels, and divine energy is always there to support you and protect you. But you
Yeah.
have to use your willpower to make those decisions for yourself. You can
Yeah.
choose to live from your lower ego self, or you can live from a
Mhm.
higher self. Now, wouldn't you agree? We have so many distractions now, Susan. I think it's even
Mm.
more difficult for people to find that connection with divine source energy unless they actively take meditation and prayer times or whatever the way they connect to
Mm.
divine source energy.
Yeah.
You need to take that time to, bring back that connection to your conscious awareness. Not
Yeah.
necessarily that you're disconnected all the time, but it's the fact that you're consciously not aware of that connection. And you
Mhm.
have to make, daily practices either through meditation or prayers or
Yeah.
something. Wouldn't you agree? Because otherwise the
Yeah.
phone's there, the TV is there.
Doesn't take long.
Mm,
Doesn't take long. It literally, and when we talk about the word meditation,
mm,
in the old days, when I learnt meditation, transcendental TM, it
mm,
was, oh, you had to say it 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. I was like, well, actually, most people now
mm,
do not have 20 minutes in the morning, or they don't
mm,
make 20 minutes in the
mm.
morning, 20 minutes. You know what? In one moment, you could come. I mean, I don't know if it's okay to do this, Gull, but I could just take everyone through just a one moment connection. Would
Yeah,
that
why
be
not?
okay?
So what I'm gonna say
Yeah.
is, if you're listening to this on when you're driving down in a car, then
Okay.
you can pause it for the moment. If you're cooking, or
Mm.
if you're doing any operating any heavy machinery, then if you want to pause and come back to this section
Mm.
afterwards, then that'd be great. And for those just
Mm.
listening, then yeah, please go ahead. I think it'll be a great
Yeah, and
experience for
it
them.
will just be literally a few moments, but yeah, absolutely take responsibility for your own well-being, right?
Mm,
So the way that I would do this is just get people to put their hands on their heart if that's possible.
mm,
Um, just that action of hands on the heart connects us with that heart space.
mm.
And then I'll keep my eyes open for this, but you can close your eyes if you feel you want to do that. And then just to breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth a few times. We're connecting with our higher self when we are connecting with the breath. So we can do that a few times. And then just to imagine, and even if you can't see, you can just imagine that underneath your hands is a beautiful golden light. And this golden light could be sparkly and fresh and expansive. And as you start to breathe and connect with that golden light, you start to remember who you truly are, which is this divine being of light, just choosing to be human right now in this moment. And then you can take it even further and you can connect with a star under your feet, which is your Earth star. Remember to breathe, and as you connect with your Earth star, you're connecting with manifesting in human form, supported by Mother Earth and Gaia. And then imagine a star above your head, and this is your soul star, and this connects you to the unified light of consciousness, your true God self source energy. And then you can imagine a beautiful beam of light coming down from this soul star, through the soul star, through your crown, all the way through your body. And as you do that, you start to connect more deeply with that inner guidance. And so here you could ask, what do I need to know? And you just listen. And sometimes you'll get an answer in your mind, which might be a knowing. Sometimes you'll hear it. Sometimes you'll just feel it. And sometimes you'll just have this essence that you know that you're not on your own. And with beautiful angels and guides, you can ask to step in behind you. Know that you've always got your support. And that just took about a minute and a half. And so actually, the Earth Star Soul Star is one of my favorite grounding, connecting processes that I do in all my courses with all my clients. And it's just a really quick way. But even if you don't have time to do that, you can just connect with the heart. And by connecting with the heart, you're coming back to that soul self, that heart center. Because when we make decisions from the heart, we're making those decisions from a place of inner knowing, and not our head, and not the TV, not someone else's thoughts. And we just come into that space just for a moment. Whew. So
what amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I really resonate with that. I use something similar where we connect from above and below, and above being masculine energy and below being the feminine energy, and combining the two, and obviously connecting through your heart. So yeah, something very similar to ground you, and then actually manifesting from that space, or actually whatever questions or anything that you need to asking from that space. So yeah, that was beautiful. I really, really loved it. And so that's a great point to end on. So Susan, tell us, how can we connect with you on the internet? How can we find you?
Sure. My website is a great place. It's just my name, Susan Kennard, and then it's co.uk, so co.uk, so susankennard.co.uk, and my name across all social media. And I have a podcast called The Spiritual Awakener, which I'm hoping Gull will come on and
I would love to
feature on my podcast, The Spiritual Awakener, across all podcast platforms. And I have a YouTube channel, which is also my name, and I go weekly. I do a weekly live where I do a process or meditation, or I talk about something that the guides want me to share.
Fantastic. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, all the links that Susan just mentioned will be in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then down below in the description section, we'll have all the links to Susan's blog. Do go check her out. She is one kick-ass lady, and someone that I've recently come into contact with, and I've fallen in love with. She's amazing. So do go check her out. She's amazing. And Susan, thank you for being such an amazing guest for our Money Talkies again. We have to have you back. We need to have another conversation at some point.
Okay, my love. Thank you. Maybe when my book gets published next year, we'll have a conversation.
Absolutely. We'll love to have you back and talk about your book then. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening to me and Susan on Money Talkies. I will be back with another amazing guest, picking their brains and looking for those golden nuggets of information to help you and I build a better business and become more abundant. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull Khan signing off. Take care and bye for now.